Hi. This lesson is being able to find the area and perimeter of composite shapes. Composite shapes are basically shapes that are built out of more than one shape. So we've been discussing in the lesson before this how to find area and perimeter of just like a rectangle. But if we think about layouts like this, where you can see we can split this figure into more than one rectangle, that's the goal of this lesson. And that's important because if we think back to our little piplup, okay, who's trying to find an apartment, a lot of apartments are not just in the shape of a rectangle. There might be built of other shapes. So this is going to help us access information about area and perimeter of those apartments. So we will start with our important vocab. So focusing on a rectangle, circle, and triangle. So if we have a rectangle, it's a four-sided finger where opposing sides are the same, and we call those opposing sides the length. So two lengths, and then a width and a width. How we can find perimeter of a rectangle is just adding two widths plus two lengths. How we can find the area is just by multiplying the length times the width. Multiplication sign there. Okay, dope. For a circle, dimensions that are important to know. So if we've got a circle here, with the center, dimensions that are important to know are the radius is the distance from the center to edge. And then a diameter is when we go all the way through, from edge to edge through the center. That's called a diameter. Okay. How we can find the perimeter of a circle, we call that circumference. That is equal to, circumference is pi times diameter. We just multiply those. And the area, the formula for that, area is equal to pi r squared. So pi, and then taking our radius, whatever that is, and squaring it. A triangle, three-sided figure. The dimensions that we care about are the base and the height. So basically we take one side, we make the base. I'll make this side the base. And then the height is the side that makes the 90-degree angle with it, like the dimension that makes the 90-degree angle with it, and then goes to basically an opposite vertex. We call that the height. How you find the perimeter is you just add the three sides. There's no formula because the three sides aren't like the same always. And then area is base times height and then divided by 2. We've talked about how a triangle is half of a rectangle. Okay? So we're going to get into how we can find area and perimeter of composite figures. So again, composite figures are a shape made up of multiple shapes. Now, so this is an example one. The figure below is composed of different rectangles. Find the area and the perimeter. So to find the perimeter, we just have to find the total distance around the outside of the shape. Now, we could just count that out. Like I could imagine if I just walk from here to here and here to there and there to there and there to there and there to there and around the whole figure, I could just count this, whatever this number is, plus 4, plus 3, plus whatever this number is, plus 3, plus 3, whatever this number is, plus 11. I'm going to show you a shortcut though. In rectangular figures, opposite segments, not opposite, parallel segments will be congruent to each other. So, basically, here's one segment. This segment plus that segment plus that segment are all going to add up to 11. So that helps me see that, like, if this is 4 and 3, that's 7. This is going to be 4 centimeters. We can kind of imagine this whole length just being 11. So I can kind of think of this like 11, and then I can do the same thing here. This and this. These are opposite sides. They're going to be parallel to each other, so I can call that also 7. So I already know to find the perimeter, I can do 11 plus 11. That tells me this base, these top 3 pieces, plus 7 plus 7. Now, because the figure is cut in, there's also these 2 pieces that we have to consider. So plus 3, we have to add those in too. When I add all that up, 11 plus 11 plus 7 plus 7 plus 3 plus 3 is literally all I'm doing in my calculator. And I get a perimeter of 42 centimeters. Okay. Now to find the area. Now I can't just do length times width because this isn't a full rectangle. So I'm going to have to break this into rectangles, and it's up to me to decide how I want to do that. So I'm just going to, I don't know, I'm going to show you this one. So if I break this and this like this, here, let me do these lines. I see here a rectangle that's 3 by 4, right? So 3 by 4. So that's an area of 12. Here I see a square that's 3 by 3. Now here I have to do a little more work. I know this is 11, but how long is this? Well, again, those parallel sides will be congruent to each other. So this is 3, this length has to be 3, and that length has to be 3. So 3, if this is 3 and the whole thing, the whole purple segment is 7, that means what's left over, I'll make that orange. This part here has to be 4. This part here has to be 4 because 3 plus 4 is 7. So that tells me that 11 times 4 is how I get this. And so inside here is going to be 44 centimeters, square centimeters. Okay. And then to find my area, I can just add 12 plus 12 plus my 44. And when I do that, what is that? 12 plus 12 plus 44 equals 68 square centimeters. And again, that's just one way of thinking about it. There's a bunch of different ways you could split up. You could split this rectangle and like split it there and make three different rectangles that way. It's up to you. Okay. So basically what I did there is to find the area, I find basically the area of each separate shape. Actually, I'm going to, instead of the word separate, I'm sorry, I'm going to be clearer. Distinct shape. Distinct means like, it's like own shape. Okay. Now, example 2 says, find the area and perimeter of the shape below. Assume all angles that look to be 90 are. Okay. So again, this is a composite figure. What am I noticing here? Well, I'm noticing, okay, it said all angles that look to be 90 are. Okay. I want area and perimeter. So I need to find the space inside the shape. And I need to find the space outside the shape, or the distance around the shape. And so area will be this whole space, right? And perimeter will be this whole distance around. Now, there's no like formula I can use because I'm dealing with a square and it looks like a circle here. This is actually a semicircle. A semicircle is just half of a circle. Okay, and you can tell if you have a diameter goes from end to end, right, of the circle, then you can tell that you have a semicircle. So there's a semicircle here. So, let me start with finding area. I think that's easier, okay? So, I'm noticing here that I have a square. So 12 and 12. So inside here is going to be 144, because 12 times 12 is 144. Now, to find my semicircle, this is also 12, because again, parallel sides of a square in this case. So 12 and 12. So let me do my formula for area. So area is pi r squared. So I'm going to do area equals pi times 12 squared. Area is going to equal 144 pi. 12 squared is just 144. Now I'm going to divide that by 2 though, because I'm only dealing with half a circle, a semicircle. So 144 divided by 2 is 72 pi. Notice I'm just leaving pi as the symbol. This just stands for 72 times 3.14. So I'm just leaving it there. 72 pi. I could turn this all into a decimal. I just think it's cleaner if you leave it as pi as the symbol. Okay? So what is the area of my shape? My area is 144 plus my 72 pi. Okay, and if I wanted, I could turn that all into a decimal. Let me do it quick. 72 pi is that decimal, 226 point whatever, plus 144. So we're talking about 370.2 square feet. Okay, now perimeter, I'm just going outside. So I already know, so if I imagine walking, this is 12. This would also be 12. Because it's a rectangular figure and the side parallel is also going to be 12. Now, I'm going to ignore this 12 because it's not on the outside of the figure. So my thing I have to figure out is this green curve. I have to figure out what's the distance of that. Now to do that, I'm going to find circumference of my circle. And remember that circumference is equal to pi times diameter. Now I know the diameter is 12. So 12 pi. Now, that's the circumference of the entire circle if I were to finish the circle. And I only have half a circle, so I'm going to take that and divide it by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6 pi. So then my perimeter is equal to 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 6 pi. Because this we just found again was 6 pi by doing half the circumference. Okay. Figure this out. So 12 plus 12 plus 12 is what? 36 plus 6 pi. That's my perimeter. Okay, and again, that's the exact answer. These are approximations. I should just squiggle lines inside to show that these are approximations. So I'll throw this in my calculator and figure out their approximation quick. So 6 pi is that, plus 36 is looking at about 54.8. Okay, and that's it. Hope that made sense. A lot of this again is just problem solving, kind of using the formulas you already know about these like distinct shapes, right? Hope you have fun with it.